Hey y'all, N4H and H here.
Sitting there with 80 watts too. But HF.
That's my brother. That's W4KWM. He's camping out this week up in North Georgia with his RV. I'll tell you more about it in a minute. Let me go back to him. So I'm filming now, Wayne, and I'm gonna be, when you come back and talk, I'm going to show my viewers how I've got you dialed in here, and I'll tell them a little bit about. Well, why don't you tell them about the type of antenna that you're using right now, and what you call it, and then I'll show them how I've got this EQ'd, or filtered and everything. Of course, I'm using the FTDX 5000. I'll be showing them that I'm using intercept point optimization and a combination of digital noise reduction and contour. And I've got you very, very clear here. So come back and tell us the setup you're using there. N4H and H for ID.
W4KWM for ID. Sitting in my camper, operating a FT891 QSO HF rig with a MFJ 939 auto tuner. The antenna I'm on right now is a vertical homemade version of a popular antenna that I don't think I can tell the name of it. Maybe I can. I'm calling it a Buzzard 1. I have a 32-foot fiberglass mast. Stuck down into a bucket that I put concrete in for ballast. And then I have the coax packed under my camper coming into the kitchenette space. And it's a compromise because the wire's only 32 feet long, but it does work. It's not great at long distances, I guess, but I did get a 20-meter contact into Florida earlier today. Where I'm at in a state park, I don't have physical space to set up my infed, which I can also run from here. And I have a 2-meter
turning off contour
on the front. A roll-up J-pole also runs with the coax tacked under the camper. And right now I'm limited to 2 repeaters that I can hit.
Turned off digital noise reduction. Yeah, I meant to ask you a minute ago. Have you tried a 2-meter contact with home?
I don't know if I can't hit the Athens or.
So going to IPO1.
Winder, I can't hit any of those repeaters, so I'm probably not going to be able to.
That already knocked noise down. Yeah. Okay. So your 2-meter base station doesn't reach the. I thought you could hit the Toccoa repeater from home.
I can hit it from here.
That's right, but if Bonita can hit it from home, then you guys have comms.
Yeah, but I've got the radio.
Oh, that's right. You have the 2980 with you, don't you?
Yeah. Eventually, I may have to get another one so I can see.
Okay, now digital noise reduction.
Yeah, the camper. The 891 is my backpack radio anyway, so it's not at home. But it doesn't hurt any, but I need to get another 2-meter for the house or get another 2-meter for here.
Roger that. Yeah, well, it's hard to beat a 2980 with that 80 watts. I know, it's 2-meter only, but, you can do really most anything you want to do on 2 meters as far as FM. But that's good. That's good. So, yeah, the antenna's called, what'd you say it's called?
The Buzzard 1.
Now, it requires an antenna tuner, or antenna matching unit, right?
Yeah, I've got a little small matching unit at the bottom of it. When a few minutes here, I'll go out and take a picture and send it to you. 15 or more feet of coax. And I've got 18 feet run from the dinette back, so it's maybe more than just 15. Or anybody else can have it set up. But it's just a little matching unit at the bottom of it. And really, really simple. Works good.
You got an unin at the bottom of the antenna, right? And then you're using the MFJ auto tuner.
Right, there's an unin at the bottom, and I can actually tune. I've gone through. I can tune 160, 80, up through 10.
DNR is set on 3.
I can't remember if I tried 6 meter, but
Here comes
on 80
contour.
and 160, it's so short. 32 feet of wire is just not a fire.
1900 hertz.
Not very efficient.
Roger that. Roger that. Well, that's working out great. I mean, we're definitely on the 60 meter band. Let's say how many miles do you think you are air miles? 70, 75?
Maybe it's like 65 miles from home here. Your house is another 30 miles. I'll map it here and see.
Okay, well, but we're definitely using Skywave because I'm horizontally polarized, you're vertically polarized, and you're coming in strong there at one point with when I switch it over to amp 1 to get a more accurate S meter reading. And I say more accurate, remember this S meter above S9, it reads 1 decibel low, so that's close enough. You were peaking 10 and sometimes just slightly above 10 over 9. It's dropped a little bit now. I think band conditions have shifted some. But right now I'm running DNR at 3 and I've got contour at 1900 hertz. I could probably get away with running DNR a little. I've talked about this in other videos, balancing digital noise reduction and contour. So I may, once I kick in contour, which is going to dull out some of the high frequencies, I may lower the DNR a little bit to balance that out. But right now, you're still sounding real good. Actually, it was sounding real good with DNR just running at 3. So, this 60 meter band is just phenomenal. Fills that gap that where, right now you and I probably wouldn't be able to work 40. We'd probably fly over each other's head. We might have a shot at 80. This time of day, though, maybe not. And also, too, your antenna is too short, probably to be efficient on 80. Although, really, at the length it is, I guess 40 meters is really the max that it should work on, right?
Yeah, it's right at 32 feet of wire.
Lower DNR to 1.
Technically, it's not supposed to work on 60, but the tuner's able to. This tuner can tune 32 to 1. So it brings it down. I just mapped it on a popular mapping program. Straight line distance.
How cool is that?
From where I'm at to you is 63.5 miles.
Okay, so this time of day is 12:39 Eastern. So we were able to get Skywave on the 60 meter band at 60 something miles. That's really good. That's really quite good. That's why we like this band. It's such a good regional band, and I call it a gap band, covering that range that's in between what 40 can cover. When 40 is too long and 80 is too short, this is such a great band. And I'm afraid so many amateur operators, for whatever reason, they just don't explore this band. Maybe they don't think their antenna can do it. They don't want to use a tuner. Or maybe it's just, I know for some people, they say it's just kind of a mysterious band. That's why I shot that 3-part series all about 60 meters. And, hopefully more people will explore this band. I believe, though, in the time that you and I have been operating on 60 meters, which has been, 4 years now? Well, even longer than that for me, but for Summits on the Air, we've been using it for, I think, 4 years. I think in that time period, we've seen more and more traffic on this band, which, if we don't use it, we lose it. N4H Friday. Trying to ID on the 10s.
the, you know, kind of like 2 meter up here in the mountains. It was just a local chat frequency until we started really hitting the SOTA stuff hard, and then it became more popular.
No contour.
People, thank you to all those who
No DNR.
Oneness, people became more active and helped us get our contacts.
Okay, DNR, IPO, DNR at 1. I'm going to increase it to 7 since I'm not using contour right now. So hopefully as we chat, I'm giving you some tips here. Okay, I was talking to the camera there for a second. Yeah, I just think it's such a great band. It's a good mobile band too. That simple 60 meter ham stick has served me well using it for mobile. And I've been debating on when I put the ATAS 120 on the truck, which is going to go up there on the hood. I've been debating whether I should just maybe leave the other mount up there, and if I ever need 60, I can just go to the back and get that ham stick and switch over. Of course, I'd need an antenna switch. I don't know, that's a lot of trouble. I mostly operate 40 meters in the truck anyway, but 60 meters is a great mobile band.
Yeah, I either have the 60 or the 40 on mine, although I've got all those other ones. I only fit 6.
If you're new to 60 meters, note the readout.
Even that kind of tight. But I usually just run.
Listen to the clarity. I believe DNR at 7 is even better than doing the lower DNR with contour. But, I mean, it's situational. So that's with the 60 meter band, and I covered this in the 3-part series. That is the center of what they're calling the channel, which is about 2.8 kilohertz of bandwidth. You could round it up to 3, I guess. But I read that it's officially 2.8. When I'm transmitting, the radio, it's just programmed into this rig. It's automatically transmitting at 5.330.5, 1.5K below that, because I'm using upper sideband, and I need to, I want to be able to use my full bandwidth for transmit audio. So if you're not familiar with that, that's Yaesu programs it in there for you. You don't have to do it. But if you were going to program this into a rig yourself, you would need to put in 5.330.5 for upper sideband use, which is what you have to do on 60 meters. And then you'd want to put in 5.332 for CW. Okay, I'll stand by N4H NHQRX. Okay, so, and I covered that in the 3-part series all about 60 meters. We share this band with the government, so government agencies, so we got to be careful and stay in our lane. Not supposed to transmit with more than 100 watts ERP, so if you're using a dipole, you're fine. But you can't use a gain antenna and then also output 100 watts from the radio. The bandwidth, we're not supposed to transmit with more than 2.8 kilohertz of bandwidth. I know it seems a little odd that we're actually transmitting 1.5 kilohertz below, which almost implies, if that's the center of the channel, that the entire channel is 3 kilohertz. But we're not supposed to exceed 2.8 kilohertz of transmit bandwidth. But I have this radio set to transmit at 2.6 kilohertz anyway. That's my go-to with a Heil mic. I'm using the Heil PR781 with this rig. Now with the Yaesu hand mics, I actually set it for a 2.4 kilohertz bandwidth. That's the 300-2700 setting. With this radio I'm using right now, the 200-2800, which is 2.6 kilohertz of bandwidth. Okay, well, I was just explaining a little bit about the 60 meter channels here in case somebody's watching that hasn't played on 60 meters and finds a little bit of a mystery. And, well, it was a mystery to me when I first started too. But yeah, I'm really impressed with your setup. The 891 sounds good. The Buzzard 1 antenna is doing a great job, and that makes for a great yeah, why don't you come back and explain to my viewers why the Buzzard 1, the homebrew vertical there, versus say an end-fed half wave, because I know you have one, and you would prefer it for performance, although I think this Buzzard 1's delivering. But yeah, what are the constraints that made you use the vertical at that particular campground?
Yeah, the spaces here are, they're a little close, and there's not enough real estate here. I might be able to set up the end-fed half wave. I'm going to get out later and try it, but it is so long.
Band shifting.
It requires a great deal of space to set up to stretch out properly. So the vertical is really the diameter of a bucket, 5-gallon bucket, and it just goes straight up. If I'm at a place where there aren't such space constraints, then I can set up the halfway. And it's an all band. It does pretty much everything, even 60. And again, with the tuner, anything that's a little bit off, I can tune it. But the NY4G end-fed halfway are pretty close across the standard.
Bad fade. Roger that. Well, the band's shifting on us now, Wayne. It may be stretching out a little bit, and we're going to get to a point where we're ground wave. And since you're vertical and I'm horizontal, that's a terrible amount of attenuation. So I'll go ahead and say 73 and wrap my video up here. But good to know that we can make contact, and maybe let's try at least 1 or 2 of these a day, maybe another one in the evening, and of course, we'll see if this band will give us some evening coverage, because it does go long at night. But maybe at least once a day, if not twice a day, we'll try to make a contact. 73 W4KWM Whiskey 4, keep walking mountains. This is N4 H&H.
Feel free to use it if you want. And I'm just going to play around, watch TV, just do nothing. That's kind of the whole point of this week. Downtime, as my XYL puts this in my sabbatical. W4KWM 73.
Okay, I'm just going to go up here to my log and press F3. Ham Radio Deluxe. That marks the end time, and I'll save that. Okay, so in case you missed that during the fade, what he's talking about. So, camping, if you do any RV camping, the sites you got limited space. So he's got a really nice NY4G EFHW. That's NY4G EFHW.com. Really nice portable end-fed. They're so nice. Have a little winder. You can, you've seen them in my SOTA videos. In fact, one of the most recent ones, where I was up on Westerwald, you'll see it featured there. So he's got one of those. He's got the high power model that can handle up to 120 watts. The one in my Westerwald video is limited to 60 watts sideband. But that antenna, requires more horizontal space, and you may not have that at certain campgrounds. It is a great performer, though. So his alternative is this vertical that he made, and it's essentially a homebrew version of an antenna. He didn't want to mention it, so maybe I won't, but it's his homebrew version of an antenna that's very, very popular for POTA operation. And like you can set it up and hook it to a trailer hitch or something. And he has a 32-foot mast. He's got an unit at the bottom, and then he's using a MFJ 939Y, I believe it is, auto tuner, in conjunction with his FT 891. So that's his setup up there. And the reason for the vertical is simply because he just didn't have the horizontal space to set up the end-fed half wave. And that's why he wanted that alternative. He takes both in the RV, and it just worked out that given the space constraint he has up there, the vertical was the go-to. He's also got a roll-up J-pole from N9TAX, November 9 Tango Alpha X-ray, that is made out of window line, and that thing performs super well. We use it up on the mountains for summits on the air. That's his base station vertical for 2 meters. So he's all set up. And if you haven't seen it, I shot a video 2 or 3 months ago at his RV when we were testing his setup for HF using the end-fed half wave, by the way. So go back and look for that one. I don't know if it's in the SOTA. It may be in the SOTA playlist. It may also be in the FT891 playlist. But just look for the one. The thumbnail, I believe, shows his RV looking at the front of the RV. But check that out, and you can see what his setup looks like on the inside, how he's got it wired. He did a neat installation job. He's got Anderson power poles down under the table of the RV that he can plug the power into, and he's ready to go there. He's got coax run to the back, and he's got an SO239 weather sealed, one at the front for the 2 meter antenna on a mounted coming out of one of the some of the frame there, and then he's got one at the back near the back bumper for the HF setup. Okay, well, I hope you found the video helpful and informative, or at least entertaining. I try to keep it real on the channel and just let you guys see my day-to-day operation with the rigs and scenarios that I may encounter. Oh, and you may have noticed I was adjusting the RF gain. You see I've got it. I had it at the beginning. I think I had it up around S3. Remember, I've told you the RF gain is your friend. I think it's one of the best inventions for radios ever. Because these, especially modern radios, are so sensitive. The receivers are so sensitive that they just pull in so much noise. And on these lower bands, you don't really need all that. That's why I'm using intercept point optimization. And I might have even, I could have probably even done well kicking in 6 dB of attenuation here. Attenuation there, see. But I just use the RF gain, similar concept. Just lowering the sensitivity of the front end of the receiver. And it brings your S meter up as you go counterclockwise. I call it an S meter squelch. It's sort of like saying, well, I don't want to hear anything weaker than S3. Well, the noise floor is down there below S3. So the stronger the station is that you're listening to, the more you can roll that RF gain counterclockwise and blank out the noise between their words and still hear them very well. All right, well, that's good for this video. I mean, it's already over 22 minutes, so thanks for watching. Thank you to the Patreon support team who make it possible to bring these videos to you by helping offset the cost of running this channel. So much appreciated. If you would like to join that Patreon support team, there are some perks, especially for the executive and VIP levels. Then please consider joining and helping me ensure that the channel can be around for years to come. Go to www.patreon.com/N4HNH, patreon.com/N4HNH. And if you would please give the video a like, that helps us out with YouTube's search algorithm. And consider subscribing to the channel. If you do subscribe, be sure to click the notification bell so you won't miss another video. I generally put out 2 a week, sometimes 3, depending on what's going on. And also, finally, if you would, please share a link to this video on social media, email, text message, or phone a friend. Hey, thanks again for watching, and 73 from N4HNH.